Right, hello, I'm Stephen Sadler. I've been reading to you from my book, Money and Power, The Secret History, on Amazon. And we've been talking about the oil industry and talking about how much of our political decisions are based on oil when it's really not talked about. And some examples are Afghanistan. For instance, the president, Hamid Karzai, used to be a consultant to the Unocal Oil Company, and his first act after becoming president of Afghanistan was to approve construction of the Central Asia Gas, or CEN gas, pipeline that was going to run from up in the north where they have the oil fields coming down. They can't bring the oil down through Iran for obvious reasons. We're not politically on good terms with them, so they're going to route it through the western end. And that's where all our military bases are, over there protecting the pipeline that's being constructed. It'll end up taking it down through Pakistan to where it can get onto an oil tanker. And they don't tell you that. In Mogadishu, remember our freedom fighters, the famous movie Black Hawk Down? Well, what was all that about? We were supposed to be giving aid to these people in Mogadishu, in Somalia. And what they didn't tell you is just prior to this incident, large oil fields were discovered where the oil could be piped to a port in Mogadishu. So in other words, it would be relatively inexpensive to get at the oil. Now, there were warlords to the north, south, east, and west. They didn't go in to liberate or help any of those. They went in and secured the oil. And that's once they had the oil secured and they paid some people off, they got the oil line through, and we got the cheap oil. Goes again with Georgia during the debate between Barack Obama and John McCain. Story broke out that the Russians were trying to quelch democracy in Georgia. And what the truth of the matter is, the fourth largest oil pipeline in the world is transporting the oil from Azerbaijan through Georgia to the Black Sea ports where it can get on a tanker to move out. And in the past, the Soviet Union had control over the oil development. There's 3 other major oil pipelines that are piping Eastern European oil into Western Europe. And the Americans have come in and kind of cut them out. So what they had actually done, if you go read Pravda or the American version of the Russian news, they're saying, hey, their beef was with the oil pipeline, and what their MiGs had actually shot was the pipeline in an act of, I guess, vengeance. Or they shot the pipeline, but it really had nothing to do with the freedom for the, and democracy for the country of Georgia. On and on it goes. Almost every time that there's some kind of a major incident around the world, what you're going to find is somehow it's related to oil. I mean, it's amazing. Go to Nicaragua and the Sandinistas. Well, they were going to nationalize the oil. It goes on and on. Americans should know.